Hey, I'm going to college tomorrow. First day. And my life. It's going to be online though. It's going to be online, but still, I have no idea what to expect. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to do another album review on a classic album, an album that a lot of people talk about, a lot of people enjoy, and a lot of people agree that it is good, if not great, and that would be Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast. What the heck was that? So, Iron Maiden is an English heavy metal band formed in the 70s, and they have released so many friggin' albums, and a lot of fans think that The Number of the Beast is their best album. A lot of them think Power Slave is their best album. A lot of people think Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is their best album, when in fact they have dropped so many great albums, it's really hard to decide which one is their best, but it's either one of these three, really. And then we have their songs, which are really catchy, loud, it has the occultic, satanic, demonic vibes, but yet it's very melodic, which, I mean, yeah, it's pretty early metal. Iron Maiden is one of the pioneers in the metal scene of the UK after we have Black Sabbath and Deep Purple, which, yes, these bands, they're metal, yes, but also they have a lot of influences from blues, rock, and hard rock. But as time progresses into the 80s, the UK has a lot more just these very loud, noisy, underground, heavy metal bands that are so much more dramatic and operatic, and one of them is Iron Maiden. And Iron Maiden's music is actually very melodic, very accessible as well. If you don't listen to metal at all and you want to get into metal, Iron Maiden is one of the finest choices. The Trooper is the first Iron Maiden song I've ever heard. I think I've heard it a couple years ago and I immediately loved it. I think it is fantastic. The guitar riffs, and the very wild and dramatic and passionate vocals. It's very thunderous, it's loud and bold, and it's a lot of fun as well. And yeah, again, if you're not a metalhead and you're not into the blast beats of black metal to the very noisy growls of death metal, or to the very prolonged, winding prog metal, I think heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden is definitely a very, very good beginner metals choice. But let's talk about The Number of the Beast, which is a fantastic album as well. We have these headbanging, chugging riffs that are very catchy and sinister as well. The vocals, they are very screamy, but also in a way it's almost like acting. The vocalist of this band in this album is Bruce Dickinson. Now, Iron Maiden, they're not the same few members throughout the entire history. They always change, they always reform. The only guy who never left the band is Steve Harrison, and other members, they just switch around and change around throughout times, but it is their prime time in the late 80s. And we have Bruce Dickinson as the vocalist on this album, and his vocals are just so dramatic and theatrical. It's almost like we're watching him doing a movie, except he's acting through the voice and acting through singing, because there are tracks on this album about how terrible and how messed up and brutal a battle is, and he would show so much remorse and pain. And then we have the title track, which is about recalling some strange visions and memories about a satanic ritual, and the vocals are like, what's going on, I'm kind of panicking, and at the end just explodes. It was yeah, the vocals is definitely one of the best things about this album. And then of course we have the very amazing pounding drums. The rhythms on this album, they are dynamic, they progress a lot, they speed up as well, and it's great. And also the melodies on this album, the chords, they're all very catchy and accessible and easy to listen to as far as metal goes, and it's fantastic. So we have the album opener Invaders, and it is a very fiery, aggressive opening. The vocals, they are very loud and thunderous, and they immediately just get you going. It's really fantastic. And this track is about battles, wars, and it's also about the aftermath of these things and how much pain it can bring to people, which is a pretty popular topic back in the early heavy metal scene. The second track, Children of the Damned, is a slow burner, but an amazing one at that, because this track is very intense, gloomy. The vocals are very, very passionate, and even though the track is slow, it sounds really sinister and evil, and it's definitely one of the highlights on the album for me. The next two tracks are two pretty meat and potatoes heavy metal tracks, but with the tight performances and passionate vocals and the catchy melodies. These two tracks are great as well. The former of the two, The Prisoner, has a headbanging guitar riffs, which is amazing. Also, the vocal harmonies are so triumphant and righteous and loud. The chorus is bold, and it's one amazing song. The next song, 22 Acacia Avenue, has these rhythm changes that is actually really, really smooth and really nice. The guitar playing on this track is just super underrated in my opinion, especially towards the second half of the track when they just go doodle around in a very speedy fashion. It's really great. The lyrics, they're certainly interesting. They're basically about a dreary English street. And one of the lyrics is about a prostitute. Anyways, the title track, one of the most iconic Iron Maiden tracks out there, has a very fiery intro with these whispery, breathy vocals that builds a lot of tension, and it's amazing. Also, the chugging guitars, I can hear 6 minutes of those chugging guitars and I will not feel fed up or tired. And then we have lyrics about a person suffering from visions and memories of a satanic ritual, and towards the end the main character of this track becomes possessed by a demon, and it gets darker and more evil and wackier and crazier as the song progresses. The guitars, they speed up, the drums, the vocals, everything just becomes louder and more dramatic towards the end. The guitar solo towards the end is so operatic and also very colorful. Very gory and colorful. The next track, Run to the Hills, is a very straightforward, catchy, triumphant, in-your-face heavy metal banger with a loud, bold chorus. Run to the hills. And the lyrics, they're about the genocide of Native Americans and how they need to run to the hills to escape, which is very much a real thing that actually happened, and the way they translate these real things into really messed up, evil, heavy metal tracks to spread the word and awareness is just actually kinda great. And the scratchy guitars, the rhythm changes between the verses and the choruses, they're really great. None of them feel jarring. The second to last track is Gangland, which is a very rapid, fiery, speedy track. Even though it's not one of the more memorable tracks, it's still a really good song. Lyrically, it's about how the characters are in a world of mercenaries and killing each other is fine and legal. However, it's the album ending, Hallowed Be Thy Name, that everyone's talking about. You know, a lot of people consider this as Iron Maiden's best song, and not gonna lie, this track is a very powerful, epic, grand, memorable ending to the album. It's still very melodic, but it still has a final vibe to it, which is really great as album endings go. The riff of this track, it feels very determined, headstrong, and we also get this very dreary intro to the track, which I really love. And towards the end, everything just speeds up and it reaches a really gratifying climax, and then it ends, and the whole track is 7 minutes and 11 seconds long, and yet it doesn't feel that way. That's when you know that the song is really good. So overall, this is a damn great album. What can I say? Again, if you're looking for something very industrial and noisy and maybe experimental, maybe this will not be your cup of tea because this is some straightforward, catchy, melodic heavy metal that is very easy to get into and very easy to love. But still, I really like that a lot of bands in UK and even in the USA, like Metallica, Blue Oyster Cult, they sort of portray the metal scene as something very very dirty and satanic. It has a religious vibe to it, and it's not it's gimmicky, and I like it because it's almost like they're putting on a show. It's almost like they're creating a story or an atmosphere or a setting, which I think just makes the genre so much more interesting, especially if you go into some of the more black metal stuff where everything becomes more showy, and I'm not gonna say fake or phony, but the showy elements is actually really fun. So yeah, my favorite track on the album is Hallowed Be Thy Name. My least favorite is Gangland. I am giving Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast a 9 out of 10. Yeah, solid 9. So, have you listened to The Number of the Beast from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I will continue reviewing the rest of Radiohead's discography, and maybe I will review Sonic Youth's Daydream Nation. Maybe I'll listen to it like a few more times first. And yeah, that's all. Gotta go to college tomorrow.